Kimek, or Mousy, is the kid protagonist of the story who has been left alone with the father in the house as the mother seems to be away for the weekend. Throughout the story, we learn the father is toxic, being seemingly an alcoholic, with the family being dysfunctional and a harmful environment for a child. You could say in a way that this is the depiction of real life and how many kids suffer the consequences of bad parenting. Mousy has to survive this weekend, left alone with the father, and perform certain tasks to keep him happy. The story begins with a surreal, creepy sequence where Mousy hears the mother's cries. Going to find the mother, we learn how the mother seems to suffer from depression, as in one of the photos on the wall, the mother is seemingly sitting on a chair, weeping, while a figure shrouded in shadows in the background is scratched up, which might show the darkness the father carries with him, who causes pain and torment, being a monster both the mother and the child fear. Eventually, Mousy gets into a surreal room where every piece of furniture, including the mother, are floating, when a music box opens with a note reading, "Alone," when Mousy gets jump-scared by the mother. This turns out to have been a dream, which might be interpreted as the built-up trauma Mousy has bottled up inside, with the chaotic and messy household, the mother being terrified, and someone Mousy wants to protect, with an abusive father who makes it a nightmare to live in the house. Waking up in sweats, terrified of what he saw, he anxiously goes to look for the mother, but only comes across a note left behind by her that she has left the house. She asks Mousy to help the father with some tasks. As Mousy gets to work cleaning up the house, he notes that the mother has left for Salzburg, which is a city in Austria. So the mother has seemingly gone for a trip, while the dad has stayed behind, and poor Mousy will be the one having to deal with him. Mousy, clearly being a young child, desperately wants to make his parents proud, taking care of the house entirely by himself. He reads a note left behind by the mother that he should clean up the kitchen, as otherwise the father would become sad, a clear indication that the father has temper issues. This is further confirmed by the number of empty beer bottles left chaotically all over the place. The mother doesn't seem to be caring for the child much either, as she wrote the note that she didn't have time and left all the cleaning for little Mousy to take care of, leaving him with tools that could be dangerous, such as the dishwasher, vacuum cleaner, and other tools that might need adult supervision. While busy doing so many house chores, we find a photo of the family. The father seems to be a wolf or a dog, the mother is a cow, and it appears there is a fourth member of the family, with Mousy having a sibling being a duck. It's not clear who this individual is, but my theory is that it could be a dead family member, a dead child, which might have caused the family to unravel into madness and being so angry. Soon enough, the ants come to the house, who are unusually silent. There are Aunt Alice and Aunt Renee, who is holding a cross and praying. It's all very bizarre. They might be here to watch after Mousy. That's when the father starts speaking through a telecom device, telling the ants in a harsh and rude manner to leave the house, and he, in a violent voice, threatens Mousy to go to his room and stay there.
I told you, stupid cows, that you had to leave my house. Cop a heel. And you, Butterball, go to your room.
It's bizarre why one of the ants is holding a cross and praying. Maybe it has something to do with the last family member, the child, who is not in the picture anymore. As the ants leave and Mousy goes to his room, the father comes to the house with some friends who throw a party. Mousy is scared to go downstairs, as he knows better that the father will become very angry. Trying to keep himself busy in the room, playing some video games, a friend of the father comes to the room, intruding Mousy's privacy, telling him to go to sleep as adults want to do something, saying the father won't be as nice as him. He even acts surprised, as he wasn't told the father has a child. It seems as if the friend and the father want to do some questionable acts, hence why the father asked the ants to leave the house and forced the child to stay in his room and not get out. Being forced to go to bed even though he doesn't feel sleepy, as soon as the friend of the father leaves the room, he goes back to his console and keeps on playing again, turning the volume down. As he plays quietly, the voice of the father can be heard, saying that he will go up to check on him again if he is cheating on him or not. This portrays the father's trust issues being paranoid, making him become angry. It's not clear if he is paranoid because he had an actual bad experience with the wife cheating on him, or if he is this insecure naturally. The wife just randomly, without any prior announcement, going to Salzburg in Austria as well, through what we see seemingly in a rush as she leaves the house in a mess, telling Mousy to take care of it. It seems the wife might have left her family behind, leaving the father as not being able to put up with him anymore. Or maybe the wife is actually a cheater and is going to a trip unannounced to cheat. As it turns out, the father was supposed to take Mousy to school as well, but he didn't because of wasting time drinking with friends. Poor little Mousy, not knowing any better and being innocent, only thinks the best of his toxic parents, believing the father had too much work and that's why he didn't take him to school. Sleeping the night and waking up in the morning, little Mousy acts as the father's caretaker, giving him painkiller pills for his hangover.
My sweetsy tasty cupcake. Sometimes Daddy is in a lot of pain and needs his pills. He loses them in various places, but I'm sure you will find them, Momsy.
The mom, who had to become accustomed to this husband, leaving her child with him, instructs Mousy to do the house chores and take care of the dad. This family didn't seem to be this dysfunctional since the beginning, however, as there is a photo on the wall of little Mousy driving a steamboat, calling it a happy memory. This must be very confusing for Mousy, who sees the conflicting sides of the parents, sometimes being nice and the others being aggressive and horrible. As Mousy gives the father a bottle of pills, with the label clearly saying 2 is the max dose, the father demands more and more, depicting his addiction to them. He even starts to get aggressive, giving Mousy a countdown to bring him more, as otherwise he would punish him. After getting his fix, the father demands Mousy to get away so he can get his beauty sleep. And by beauty sleep, the father clearly needs it, as he seems to be a complete mess, looking like a mix between a ghoul and a fiend. Poor Mousy, terrified of what the father is, he decides to go to bed, but instead, he has a series of surreal experiences and visions when he finally finds his bed in a place shrouded in darkness. As he falls asleep, he wakes up in a dreamland where he is reliving the seeming only good memory that he has had with his family. It is a corrupted version of the memory being in the steamboat, which Mousy cherishes dearly. While resembling some parts of the memory, it quickly turns into a nightmare filled with monsters threatening the very being of Mousy. The largest, most terrifying monster resembles the shape of the father, someone who enjoyed hunting and killing little baby Bambis, spending time with his friends and neglecting his son. The dream quickly comes to an end with the monster-shaped father scaring Mousy. Waking up in the middle of the night, Mousy reads another note left behind by the mother, who reminds him that the father really enjoys his sleep and he is a light sleeper who easily wakes up from Mousy trying to use the toilet at night. Doesn't matter how urgent it is, Mousy should keep it in and not use the toilet at night times, as otherwise the father would get very angry. Trying to quietly go to the toilet, unfortunately the father wakes up, but Mousy manages to go to the toilet and run back to his room to be safe. As the night comes to an end, Mousy finds another note by the mother, who promised to call him after 3 or 4 days. Actually calling him, Mousy finds a deformed and metamorphosed father having 3 heads, one not being able to see, one unable to hear, and one unable to speak. These 3 depict how the father treats Mousy. One doesn't see him for who he is. One doesn't want to hear him and his concerns, and one simply doesn't want to speak with him. Mousy, despite being badly mistreated, living in a nightmare, he continues to respect his father, even taking care of him. Eventually, entering a maze of cheese, Mousy sees himself to be a corrupted, destroyed child, as if being rotten and expired bad cheese. Through interacting with some items, he eventually gains back his own shape, even making a comment that his rotten cheese shape is too sad, and he tries hard to have his normal shape to be happy, putting a happy face on. The story might seem ambiguous, but we understand that it is about a dysfunctional family with an abusive alcoholic father, where a child suffers their actions. In the cheese maze, we see how the father addresses beer bottles as his angels who calm him down. Through some hidden images in the game, we realize that this game is in fact portraying the real life of a 7-year-old child who had to live through a horrible house where the father was constantly abusive. The ants were real, and the images seen in the cartoonish Mickey Mouse style were all just reimaginations of what really is in the wild mind of a 7-year-old child. Key make a smart play on words. Twisting, make, key happens to be a real 7-year-old child who has been raised in a toxic household where he has developed unshakable traumas. He is afraid of spiders and he is forced to kill them and encounter them on a daily basis. And that is why we see them like monsters, as little Mousy has all these fears coming to life with his wild imagination. The child feels every bit of suffering his mind can dream up. That is also why Daddy keeps changing shape and becoming more monstrous. He seems like an entity present everywhere at the same time, and when he is angry, he emerges out of beer bottles, depicting his paranoid and aggressive side when he is drunk. The creator of the game, Simon, who is from Poland, explains that he made this game as a means for hope to others who are living or have survived through violent and toxic households. And in his own words, Simon and his dog Gary root for every single one of you, and hopefully this could act as a spark of hope. And that is it for this video, folks. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.